Everyone, we'll give it a minute or so, and then we can start. Hope everyone's doing good. Welcome back to Wednesday stream. Had last week off because I was on a little vacation away. We're back to our usual Wednesday streams, so streaming at a little bit after New York Open now on Wednesdays rather than in the mornings. Definitely more opportunities, more things to discuss. Obviously, lately as well, been trading stocks a little bit more, so makes sense to stream during the New York session rather than the EU session. We'll be discussing a bunch today. It's discussing BTC, and we can discuss the new all-time high made on the S&P 500. Obviously, this has been rallying super hard. So yeah, we'll discuss the S&P a little bit, maybe like sort of where I would like to get short on it, along with like some potential trade ideas. We'll see if any signals print through the New York session and through the stream, and whether we can act upon any of these as well. So obviously, if you do like these sort of stream formats and these layouts, post them also almost daily in the Discord. Sometimes they can be a little bit slow. Sometimes, obviously, there's much more to talk about. It really does depend on the market and what the market's doing, how much volatility we had. Obviously, in terms of crypto, volatility has been pretty dead. In terms of crypto, I missed much last week, and obviously this week as well. Really slow PA coming in from BTC, but I think we're potentially on the verge of a breakout here. So obviously I'll discuss my BTC thoughts, why I think we can be close to a breakout, and kind of my high time frame thoughts that makes me believe that we could not revisit 57k again, and that like sort of it is the bear market low. We'll discuss all of that today in the stream. Quickly, I just want to scan through some of the alerts that popped up, see whether these are worth taking for a short, essentially. All along, we'll see what we have. I've had a couple alerts come in just while I was away for lunch, so we'll quickly scan through these. What's this? AXS, so it looks like I had a weekly strong sell signal on AXS, and also the monthly on the 30-minute time frame. Personally, not a massive fan of this for a short, just based on the fact that it's kind of in a bit of no man's land. Trading above the bi-weekly value or high. I think I'd much rather take a short here into the prime monthly value or low. Just the stop from here for a short is a little bit awkward, I think. Drawing a little bit higher, maybe into 8.8s looks a bit better on AXS. So yeah, I mean, if we took a short on this, we're looking for like a 1.8% move. Personally, I don't think it's worth it. Buy signals going on DNNGY. Don't like the Isaac. How you doing? 67k inbound? Yeah, I think so. I think 60 67k is likely the next stop. I think we're gonna probably target these highs up here and these 67k highs. I just want to quickly scan my alerts and then we can talk about BTC, just in case I missed something. ON, this semiconductor, I have some buy signals coming in on this actually. Although I'm a bit hesitant to long semiconductors because I thought most of them looked good for a bit of a reversal, I'm not gonna lie. Daily, a bit of divergence. No. Even though I have some buy signals coming in down here, I don't really like the look of this gap below. Look at the volume. A bit like here, there's a bit of a gap. I think probably better off waiting for the 70s on ON, just based on this gap. You see this gap here. I mean, if we look at further historical, this gap will disappear, but near term, this is possibly worth longing. Yeah, also trading below the 2.5 standard deviation, so we're looking at 2.6%. And the other chart that was looking at just before stream is Nvidia. Nvidia definitely has caught my eye for a short, just based on this move up recently. A big important level for it. I'm waiting to see if we can. I had basically had an hourly sell signal on the quarterly, but on the quarterly view up I prefer a 4-hour sell signal. So we've got to wait 2 hours and 20 minutes for that to print, and we can consider taking a short on Nvidia. Did have a sell signal on the weekly. If anything, I could see it holding like 215, 217, so potentially like a scalp long on it into here. We get a nice trigger on Nvidia and target the mid to high 220s. So maybe this is a setup we can take on stream. But on the higher time frame, I definitely think it's quite close to a reversal. Short. Probably looking at something like this. That would be the optimal sell side position for Nvidia. It's also had some sell signals come on in on the PSI, so the semiconductor ETF. But classic continuation setup on Nvidia can be more than possible here. We get a little sweep into this area. Developing weekly value high and a prior naked view up. Also the June value high it's possible it can break out, but that would be just a scalp play. I still prefer looking at a bigger sell side swing. So BTC moving up a bit here. Yeah, I kind of want to try and get a continuation long on this, but it's just been chopping this week, so it's been really awkward to try and position into it. Like try and position into this sort of area. The reason why I think we can get a move up is because we had quite a positive daily close. The daily closed above 64k. What we kind of seen time and time again, or over the past couple of weeks, is basically like form like an area of interest. It breaks below that area, bounces up, rejects it, right? Breaks down, bounces up, rejects. Again, form like an area of interest. We can see there's strong support here, right? Broke down, it's bounced up. It initially rejected from this area, but now we're starting to see a good push above here. Also above the 64k area, which is a quite a high volume node area. So if this had failed to close above 64k, I'm fairly confident we would have traded back down to 62s and below for the rest of the week. But we did close above 64k just about on BTC. So I'm pretty sure that we can see a bit of a breakout for the rest of the week, probably back towards 67k, and that's where things get like really interesting, in my opinion, is when we start to move into the 66 to 68k region. But for now, like if we can break from this choppy range, we can definitely try a breakout on it. So ideally, I mean, it's really hard because you're gonna be quite late to this move. Like above us right now is the Q1 value or low, February value or low, prime monthly value or high. So it's really awkward to try and long up here personally. What you kind of want to see is a break, wait until we reject from this area, and then we this is the pullback we bid, essentially. So break into 65, see some sort of pullback, let's bid a higher low into 64s, and then target 66 and above would be your best case here. I wouldn't chase this just yet. I think this is quite a risky place to chase BTC. So when it comes to 66s to 68k region, things get really interesting for BTC. A break above 66k would be like really good, but a reclaim above this area, basically 66 to 68k, like if for whatever reason BTC locks in a deviation below here, reclaims 66 to 68, I think this can really leave a statement of the fact that this is probably the bear market low. I think a significant reclaim like that, like a deviation of such below this Q1 value area low and Q1 range low, a reclaim above sort of 66 to 68 would be massive for BTC. It would be huge. In that case, I would really consider that this was the bear market low, and there's probably a good chance that I don't get my 57 to 52k fills. That would invalidate my scenario of sweeping down into here, a reclaim above here. So that's why I think if we do move up to 67s this week, it's really interesting. It can be very impactful, but that's a lot later down the line, and we still have to consider the fact that we're ranging. Like if you look at the developing quarterly value, like we are just bracketing, right? We are trading within this one standard deviation value. Like we've basically been going sideways now since the start of July, so just over a month we've been essentially going sideways. So a break above here, remember what I said, let's kind of look for push into 65, pullback, and that's the pullback we sort of bid to target breakout. I don't think longing here into here is a good shout, but rather wait for the push into this region to pull back, and then we bid. We get a good trigger. So another reason why I am leaning towards the fact that the bear market low could be in, and why we won't sweep again, is I'm looking at the power law model on BTC. So historically he's marked bear market lows time and time again. If you've been in streams in the Discord, or you've been in my streams on Twitch, you know I've discussed this quite a bit over the past couple months or couple weeks. Would say rather say months. So what you can see is that we often trade into and below the power law floor, and we basically trade into this blue line area, which is 58% from the mean price of BTC. So basically the 58% or the fair price for BTC, some people like to call it. And this fair price is this middle thick line here. This middle thick line, you can see that's essentially the fair price from BTC. You know, anything above the fair price is expensive, and then anything below the fair price is deemed cheap, I guess you could say. So what you can see is that basically in every cycle, bear market low, we break down into this floor. And not only that, is that the fact that once we break into that floor, that price never gets revisited. That low doesn't get revisited. We can see here in December, we bottomed with a higher low and never revisited that low, legged up, right? Again, here we wicked down, we sort of formed a higher low into this area, and then we legged up. Then again here, wicked down, sort of formed a higher low and then legged up. So you could potentially assume that something similar is going to happen here, right? We wick down, we bounce, we form some sort of higher low, and then we eventually leg up again. So I think the idea of if we reclaim 6 to 68k, I think you have to really consider that this is the bear market low. And if you were waiting for a sweep under here, it's probably a good chance it's never going to happen. Below here. And again, this is all like theories, but it's good to always react as like price action unfolds. Like sort of set out your plan and be like, okay, like what do you have, right? So like what do you have, and what's your set like rules and like your set structure of that trade. So like I have like essentially like my structure right now is that okay. The first thing right now is that we're dropping, right? This is clear, like BTC is dropping. Essentially chop slash ignoring the low time frame PA, because the low time frame PA is not telling you shit at the moment. Like you can't do anything with this at all. Yeah, what you can do is ignore the low time frame PA and pay attention to macro, right? More than anything, because this has basically been moving the market, macro or sailor, right? These are the things that have been moving the market lately, like anything that sailor's been doing with SDRC or any war situations, anything to do with unemployment data, like the CPI, PPI, like around the dollar, right? These are all things that are become more impactful lately, rather than like looking at just book standard price action. So the first thing right now is that we're chopping, so I basically ignore the low time frame, right? The second option is that I have my trade set out, right? My trade right now is 7k, right? My trade is at 1 along 57k, and then you know I have the invalidation for that. Stop loss for that is move under 50k, right? High time frame move under 50k. So there's obviously the case that what if this doesn't play out, right? What if my trade does not get filled? Well, that would be a reclaim of 68k. If 68k gets reclaimed, then this idea gets invalidated. That leads me to 0.4, right? 2 is invalidated, right? And then I chase. This is as simple as this right now. Is that I believe that we are very close to a bottom, right? And these are my set of rules I'm basically paying attention to. Number one is that we avoid the low time frame chop. This does not matter whatever is happening on the lower time frame. I don't really give a shit about it. There's two key levels I'm looking at, is 57k and 68k, right? What happens in here, I don't care. Like we can trade it, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't take away from a higher time frame plan. My trade is that we're looking at 57k. with invalidation of 50k. This basically gets invalidated either if we sweep under 50k or if we reclaim 68k, right? Because if we reclaim 68k, I'll chase price above here. And then I consider the bear market lows in. So kind of my rules here on the market. Seems like a lot of people are losing their heads trying to pay attention to the lower time frame too much, where really it doesn't matter so much. And you're probably better off just trading stocks, in my opinion. Dell looks good. Have a look. This actually is starting to look okay for a scalp. This ON. Okay. Doesn't look bad. But I will obviously let you know if I take a position. The lower time frames are a little bit too aggressive to long into right now. Let's take a look at Dell. Yeah, that was basically my high time frame outlook on BTC. I'm pretty confident. We're close to forming a bottom on it now. 62k realistically should hold. If we can't hold 62k, then we probably get my 57k fills. Yeah, the two like near-term longs I would look at is a sweep under here, or like something like this. Like I said, reject by high low. But yeah, crypto doesn't have my interest so much at the moment. Not until we see like a big shift in something. Just Dell. That was a really nice setup at the end of July. Daily pullback into the developing yearly value or high. Z score peaks into the -2. That's a classic setup. Continuation setup. 35% move. Yeah, we're just charting it and then let's see. I kind of need my levels to know what to do with it. Pretty imbalanced right now. It's made a new all-time high in yesterday's session. I wouldn't long it here personally. So see, got a bit of a 4-hour sell signal coming in on the quarterly VWAP. Could expect a bit of a pullback from here. Back to 440s, I think. 440s looks like a place that should hold for Dell. Backfill this gap. Monday gap. Like we've SFP'd the all-time high from June. Dell. But it is in balance, right? It's trading above the prior quarterly value or high, developing quarterly value or high, and prior monthly value or high, developing yearly value or high. So yeah, maybe a pullback on it into 440s, and we can look for a potential long on it. Set some alerts into there. S&P pulling back a bit. Yeah, I was looking at the S&P earlier because obviously had a pretty crazy move. I don't know if I would short it yet. I like the look of anything towards 8K from here to 8K, but I would much rather short into 8K. Look how previous round numbers 6K, 7K, 5K kind of held a little bit, but 5K was the bottom, 6K was the top, 7K was a top. Look at 8K, right? Probably a good place for a reversal on it. It's got that yearly 2.5 to 3 standard deviation. Also, I was looking at the rolling VWAP. The 180 days, so 60. Trading into the 360-day rolling VWAP, plus 2.5 to 3 standard deviation. Obviously, we can see quite a nice top back here. It shows it getting close to a top, not necessarily always Pico top. Again, here we can see we'll start to move into that area and mark the top. Again here, back in June 23, moved into that area, sort of marked the local top. Again here, back in January 2020. mark the top. Obviously that was COVID, so a bit different, but again here, December 2017. So yeah, 360-day rolling VWAP is from like the 2.53 standard deviations from here up to 8K, and then also you got the 180-day rolling VWAP. That's a bit higher. That's into that sort of 8100. So I do think anywhere this sort of region makes sense to short on the S&P if I get a nice sell signal up here for at least a reversal, bit of a pullback and call off. Someone showed me a watch list today with I was just asking for a watch list on like stocks that make up the S&P and the Nasdaq. I think it's good to have these to be aware of these, like what's helped. Like I think it's always like the top 7, right? It's the top 7 in the S&P basically move sorry, I lost my train of thought. The top 7 basically moved the most of the S&P. But it's good to see what else is in there, right? Yeah, Mag 7, so basically accounts for a huge part of the S&P 500, makes up that Mag 7 is Google, Amazon, Apple, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. Which are all trading pretty well, right? Like Nvidia is almost close to new all-time high. Microsoft, again, almost close to new all-time high. Microsoft could also be a short. Well, this is the thing though, right? It's like S&P, I think this looks good to like short into 8K. So I think we can get a little bit higher on on Nvidia and maybe a bit higher on Microsoft, even though this is looking pretty juicy for a short up. High. Yeah, Microsoft, I could see it going to 520s. Not too keen to short these just yet. A little bit higher, like we probably look at start shorting these once the S&P goes into that 8K region. $513, yeah, like 513s to 520 on Microsoft. Nvidia. Bit higher, yeah, to 220s. We'll try. Let's see. It's just not. I don't mind these buy signals. The only thing that's holding me back is the fact that these 4-hour signals failed. I don't often like that. You see, like, there was a decent gap between these. Like, it gave a pretty substantial move. Like an 8% bounce. Minute close at least. Yeah, this just looks the same as Nvidia, doesn't it? This needs a bit higher. I think we start shorting some of these Mag 7 stocks when the S&P goes towards 8K. Like 400 on Google is probably a good short into the 400s. I see. Just under 2 months. I would never. Now we're getting close now. I just want to see that spike up. Let the spike up, and then we buy here. We buy the drawdown bit into this. Like, I want to wait till we mitigate this area. Buy the drawdown. Target here. Ending. Might not be a bad short soon. Yeah, I could see some outperformance from BTC against gold, actually. Very, very soon. $4,600. I mean, daily Z score, like, look at that Z score. That's a pretty gnarly spike. Three 3.2 on the Z score. That's quite the spike. Oh, do we go against the crowd here and short gold? Short it here. think we can wait for the think short in gold tomorrow. Today you could start scaling into a gold short today. Station. Better short tomorrow. Invalidation is a bit awkward from here. The move is quite aggressive right now. Trading above the 2.5 standard deviation. On the monthly, the quarterly, the weekly, it's not favorable to short this yet. A bit too aggressive of a trend. But I don't expect BTC gold to make new lows. I think this should stabilize around here. Get any signals coming in, Byron? We'll have a look. We got 8 minutes till my next signals print. That'll be a good point to see if there's anything worth taking or wrapping up the stream. This kind of feels like the calm before the storm, like in the market. I feel like the market is compressing hard. It's one headline or one move away from very, very aggressive move. like November 22. Similar vibes, you know. And then out of nowhere, we just got this like almost a 10k candle, wasn't it? 5k. Weekly. We've got 3 minutes, so we'll see if some alerts come in. 3 minutes. We get some alerts come in. If there's anything we can act on. If anyone's got any chart requests, obviously send them in. But yeah, I think it's not a bad spot for a gold top into 4300s. Video pulling back a bit. Well, if we get a little drop into 217, 216, we can try and take a long on it. If any alerts come in. Nothing at all. Oh, that's boring. All right, I think we'll wrap up the stream. Kind of the only thing I'm looking at right now is a Nvidia short into the 220s and long into 217s. Gold, I do like the look of shorting this week into 4300. See, I mean, it's just feels like calm before the storm. I think market really is one headline away from explosive move. Hi Life. Yeah, just wrapping up the stream now. You'll be able to rewatch it on my YouTube or I think maybe here on the Twitch. I'm not sure, but there's the socials. You can see how to watch it. And if you guys do like the stream, you can also or daily, in fact. You can already see a bit of reaction coming off from the buy signals on the Bitcoin Gold. I do think that gold is looking at a top into 4300s, and maybe we could see a bit of a move from BTC on the other hand. Okay, thanks everyone. Have a good week. See you around.